Be it the East Coast, West Coast, South, or Midwest, you name it, America has a lot to offer people of all backgrounds. In this video, we'll be taking a look at some of the largest cities in the country and ranking them based on culture, environment, cost of living, and more factors. Without further ado, here are the top 10 best big cities in America. Before we jump into our video for today, smash that like button, click subscribe for more content coming soon, and drop us a comment below letting us know what list you'd like us to cover next. Texas is big, and a lot of its cities could have made our list, but if we were to choose which is the best city in Texas, I have to go with San Antonio. It is the second largest city in the state, as well as in the South. The city is the personification of Texas, as well as Mexican American culture. It's famous for its Tex-Mex cuisine, and is consistently ranked as one of the most open cities in Texas to people of all backgrounds. San Antonio is one of Texas's oldest cities, and also has some beautiful historic architecture in its city center, with churches dating back to the Spanish colonial era. There's plenty of sunshine to go around in Texas, with an average of 220 sunny days a year, being the perfect city for people who prefer the sun. A combination of all these factors put San Antonio at number 10 on our list. The largest city in Colorado, home of the Denver Broncos, Denver is one of the best cities for young people to live in America, which is why you can see people from all over the country flocking here. The first thing you'll notice about Denver is the gorgeous scenery surrounding the city. The Rocky Mountains make up a huge part of Denver's identity, and if you travel outside of the city just a little bit, you'll find yourself in a little piece of heaven. The city where it all began, Philadelphia, one of America's oldest cities and the nation's first capital. Everywhere you look, you'll see history and rich culture, which is further intensified with the iconic Philly accent. There's plenty of historic sightseeing to do here, and plenty of parks to enjoy. Some of the country's most iconic bars and pubs are located here, and Philly's food culture is second to none, with the most famous food item from Philly being, of course, the Philly cheesesteak. The city of brotherly love has its fair share of problems, but all of them are nothing compared to how iconic and exciting Philadelphia actually is. After Philly, Boston's another New England city that's very similar, yet so different from Philly in every way. It also happens to be one of the oldest cities in America, but it has remained relatively obscure when compared to Philly throughout history. However, now people consider Boston to be one of New England's best cities. Boston is the best city in the US, if not the entire planet, when it comes to education, with some of the best universities in the world located within the metropolitan area. It also ranks highly when it comes to the quality of life indexes, often being ranked as one of the best in the country. Boston's historic districts are a sight to see, with stunning historical architecture everywhere you look, and Boston is certainly the city that personifies New England. LA, otherwise known as the City of Angels, is one of the most famous cities on the planet. It also might be one of the most superficial cities on the planet in the best way possible. You simply can't have America without having Los Angeles. I mean, it's the home to Hollywood, which is America's largest cultural export. Because of the fact that it's home to Hollywood, LA is known for its extravagance, expensive hotels, bars, nightclubs, with celebrities galore and mansion parties, which seem to be an everyday event in the city. As long as you can get over the insanely high home prices, LA can also be a great place to live. But even if you don't want to live here, it's definitely one of the most fun places to visit. With all those things in mind, it's fair that LA gets a high ranking on our list. Miami might as well be the party capital of the United States, with Miami Beach being a landmark that's famous around the world, and the city itself receiving more cruises than any other city on Earth. Now, aside from the parties, Miami also has a rich culture. It is the largest majority Spanish speaking city in the US, with a large proportion of the population being Cuban and up to 75% of the city being of Latin American origin. You will find cuisines from across Latin America in abundance in Miami, so you'll probably never go hungry trying to find new great food. Miami is one of those cities where you'll find it all, making it one of the best big cities in America. There are a lot of cities on the West Coast with their own unique appeal and attraction, but when it comes to the best city on the West Coast, we're going to have to give this one to San Francisco. San Fran is one of the most diverse cities in the US and is considered to be one of the most welcoming cities in the country as well. The city also has one of the most well-known landmarks in the country, the Golden Gate Bridge, which is an American icon. You can never run out of things to do here, and every little district within San Francisco has its own charm. On top of all of this, you have the amazing weather, where it really never gets too hot or too cold. San Francisco is easily the number one best city on the West Coast, and one of the best in the country. Atlanta has rightfully earned its spot as the best big city in Southern America. I mean, the largest city of the state of Georgia, Atlanta is notable for being one of the biggest cultural centers for African Americans in the country. The city has a very rich history, being one of the main centers of the civil rights movement. Today, Atlanta is one of the richest cities in the world and has many diverse neighborhoods with all kinds of people. It's also one of the most important cities for art in the US, with many of the most famous musicians in the world coming from here. This has also led to Atlanta having a very vibrant nightlife with exclusive clubs all over the city and numerous music festivals being held every year. While many people may not truly consider Atlanta to be Southern, there's no doubt that it's the best big city in the South. The birthplace of the skyscraper, Chicago is and will always remain one of America's most iconic and influential cities. Chicago has actually been ranked the best large city in America to visit by publications such as Condé Nast Traveler, and it has absolutely deserved it. It is one of the most prosperous cities in the world with a low unemployment rate and jobs in practically any industry you could think of. The entire metropolitan region is huge and the sprawl will never end, with each neighborhood surrounding town having a completely unique vibe. The Windy City is also an important cultural center of the United States, with many important pieces of literature, music, and theater coming directly from Chicago. Before we reveal our number one best big city in the US, smash that like button for us, click subscribe, and do us a favor, leave us a comment below letting us know what you think about our list and what you'd like us to cover next. The Big Apple, the Five Boroughs, the city that never sleeps, the greatest city in the world. I mean, I could go on and on. There are no shortage of ways to describe New York City. And New York has been the gateway to America for hundreds of years. There is probably no city that has had a cultural impact on the country, if not the entire modern world, as much as New York City has. The city is home to the most iconic theaters in the world, as well as some of the most famous museums, skyscrapers, landmarks, and so much more. To top it all off, New York City has people from almost every country on earth represented, with a vast majority of them having their own neighborhoods, making it truly one of the most international cities on the planet. There's no doubt that New York City is the best big city in America, if not the world.